Good morning, a warm welcome. Sage here for Kalkine TV, reporting to you live from Sydney, and you're watching the Global Markets Roundup. Let's dive into some of the key highlights and happenings from yesterday, starting with the global markets. And a tech shares bounce carried the European equities higher on Thursday, following similar gains on Wall Street and Asia, and helped also by a small pullback in the dollar from a 17-month high. MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan finished flat after little movement all day. And the US stock market was closed on Thursday as it was a Thanksgiving holiday. And now it's time for a small break, but stay tuned as I'll be back with the UK and Australian market updates.
Hi there, James Preston for Kalkine TV. Are you into gaming and virtual reality? Does AI and the endless possibilities it entails capture your interest? Or are you constantly trawling through the web to try and discover the latest updates and innovations in the tech space? Well, let us do the work for you. From the latest product launches to shocking affairs on the World Wide Web, exclusive interviews and information about the top companies like Apple and Google to brand new tech startups vying for your attention. Kalkine's Tech Beat has the latest in what matters in the world of technology. Join me every single Thursday on the Tech Beat, exclusive to Kalkine TV.
Welcome back, Sage here. You're watching the Global Markets Roundup show, and the European shares rose on Thursday as investors bought into defensive sectors such as utilities amid the worries about the soaring coronavirus cases across the continent. The Europe-wide Stock 600 index rose 0.4%, bouncing off three-week lows hit on Wednesday. And the UK stock market is trading in the positive territory, with the blue chip index FTSE 100 up by 0.19%, while the mid-cap focused FTSE 250 index up by 0.31%, despite an increase in the UK's energy crisis following a report of two more domestic energy suppliers going bust due to a rise in global energy prices. And the UK's energy sector witnessed the closure of around 25 suppliers since August of 2021. Shares of the oil retailing and marketing company Vivo Energy were up by over 20% after it received the acquisition bid from its largest shareholder, the Vitol Group. The group has offered US $1.85 per share in cash, including an interim and special dividend of $0.06 US. And shares of the infrastructure products and galvanising service provider Hill & Smith Holdings were down by over 8% after announcing its business update for 4 months to 31st October 2021. The stock price was down despite reporting a 4% growth in revenue at £237.1 million. And shares of the medical equipment company Omega Diagnostics Group was down by over 30% after the announcement of its half-yearly result. The company reported an 81% growth. However, its statutory loss for the period was £2.75 million. And Japanese shares advanced on Thursday, led by technology shares, as investors scooped up the bargains after sharp losses in the previous session. The Nikkei share average rose 0.67%. And the Chinese stocks closed lower on Thursday as the property developers and automobiles weighed, while semiconductors rose after the US government put some Chinese chip makers on its trade blacklist, strengthening the investors' belief China will offer more support to the industry. And the Shanghai Composite Index lost 0.2%. South Korean shares ended at a near one-week low on Thursday as minutes of the US Federal Reserve's last meeting revealed a hawkish tilt on the board, while the Bank of Korea's rate hike and upgrade in 2022 inflation forecast bolstered bets for further tightening. And the benchmark Kospi closed 0.47 lower, extending the declines to a third straight session. And moving on now to the Australian market. And the ASX 200 benchmark rose 0.1% on Thursday. A number of ASX listed companies, including copper producer Sandfire Resources, Telco Unity Group and gold miner West Gold Resources, are scheduled to hold their annual general meetings on Friday. Let's take a look across the commodities market. Starting with the bond deals, the US Treasuries will resume on Friday, albeit for shortened sessions, meaning trading is almost certain to be thin. And the 2-year yields. US 0.64%, Australia 0.64%. The 5-year yield, US 1.34% and Australia 1.45%. And the 10-year yield, US 1.63% and Australia 1.86%. The lira shrugged off early losses to rise 0.5% after a brutal 11-day losing streak. And on Thursday, the dollar's upward trend paused slightly, with the dollar index down 0.1% compared to the 16-month high it reached late on Wednesday. And oil prices fell on Thursday as traders wait to see how OPEC will respond to the US-led oil reserve releases. And the Brent crude oil futures slipped 0.4%. West Texas Intermediate crude futures fell 0.6%. And the gold prices rose after the US dollar weakened. And the spot gold rose 0.12% and the US gold futures gained 0.4%. And meanwhile, the most traded January iron ore contract on China's Dalian Commodity Exchange ended daytime trading 1.8%. And that's all for now. Do keep watching Kalkine TV for more market updates. This is Sage signing off.